I've designed a honing video to look at the scratch pattern and the cutting speed of two pieces of nagura. These are both Asano marked nagura. This is a Tenjyo and this is a Mejiro. This is an akudo stone. It's very hard, level 5++ hard. I have a double duck razor, vintage razor, and then I have a Naniwa 10,000 grit and a Suhiro 5,000 grit, which I'm going to be using as bevel setters. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to set the bevel on this razor, and I'm going to be using diagonal strokes to differentiate between the straight-on strokes that I'll be using with the nagura. I'm not trying to create the world's sharpest razor here, I'm just looking at the scratch pattern from the nagura. I'm using the naniwa in a bath of water so that any loose grit particles get washed away. It'll leave the blade looking quite a bit brighter and clear of scratches. But again, these are diagonal strokes. When I use a nagura, you'll see what I'm attempting to do here by have two alternating scratch patterns. So, okay. Here's back to the okudo, and I'll rinse that off real good. So I'll begin with the Tenjyo. That should do it. Set that aside. And I'll begin with 10 strokes. I have my microscope here, so we'll load the blade in there. And I have a switch that allows me to go back and forth between viewing from the microscope and from the computer. So I'm switching over. Here's the view in the computer. Let me focus that in just a little bit tighter. And I'm going to take a photo of that scratch pattern. You can see the diagonal scratches that go back and forth like that, and the lighter scratches, what you can see of them, go straight on. I'm going to scroll down towards the base of the bevel, and you can see the predominance of the diagonal scratches down here. Slurry stones tend to erase the scratch pattern from the previous scratches more efficiently up towards the edge. I'll scroll along and you can see that those diagonal scratches get really faint up by the edge here. And when you go back down towards the bevel, they get much heavier down here, deeper. Okay, with that said, I'm going to go back to the nagura, and I'm going to put 10 more strokes using the same slurry. It's off the blade. So at this point we have 20 strokes on this edge. I took a photo of after 10. And here's what it looks like after 20. There's a rogue scratch there from the nagura. It goes down. It doesn't go all the way down to the base yet. Let me focus that in. You can see there is a very fine scratch pattern from the nagura, and the diagonal scratches from the original bevel setting stone are gone in this area. There's just really the shadows of them. They're not defined sharp scratches at this point. Look for another group. There's one right there. You can focus in and out, but you can see they're just really pretty faint. And all along here there's just a few scratches from the Mikawa Nagura, and then those remnants from the bevel setter. Okay, so that shows pretty much what 20 strokes has done from this particular nagura. Now I'm going to go back and I'll rinse off the stone. And I'm going to reset the bevel on this blade here. Start with the Suhiro. This Suhiro's grid is pretty well bound up in the stone matrix. It doesn't come loose as easily as it does on the naniwa. So there again is a 5K Suhiro. And we'll look at this edge in the microscope. And take a photo of it in the computer. There we go. Okay, you can see all the nagura scratches are gone, and we're just left with a few deep scratches from the naniwa and the zero. I'll focus in and out. You can see there's nothing up my sleeve here. These would be considered rogue scratches. It could be from the naniwa. It's just a clump of grit particles that make one larger scratch. But my main goal is to sort of give a clean chalkboard to the blade, and so that we have just those few rogue scratches, but then pretty much no scratches at all that are seen at this magnification. So here we go, back down to the honing area here, and that was the Tenjyo. Now we have the Mejiro. I'm going to rinse that off a little bit. Okay, that looks about the same amount as we had for the Tenjyo, and I'm going to do 10 as before. This is from the Mejiro. And I'm going to focus that in real tight and take a photo. There are some larger grit particles there. You can see that from the Mejiro. And down here towards the bevel, at the base of the bevel, you can see that the scratch pattern from the bevel setter is still very much in evidence with those diagonals, but they're faint. They're not like real tight, sharp lines anymore. There's one couple there we can follow up. I'll take a photo of those first. That would be photo number 1459. Follows those up, and here they disappear already, just halfway up the bevel. So they have little effect on the edge itself. There they are, okay. So now we'll put another 10 strokes with the Mejiro. Here we are at the edge, and I'll take a photo. Of course, this is a different location on the blade. It may be a half a millimeter away, but it's in the general center portion of the blade. And every area of the blade is going to be affected differently from the sharpening stone. But in any case, that's quite a refinement to that edge compared to what we start at with the naniwa. We have a nice even scratch pattern there, and those diagonal strokes are gone. And here we are down at the base of the bevel here, and those scratches are pretty much gone too. Now this wasn't starting from a 1,000 grit stone or anything. It was really starting from a 10K, but I just wanted to show how the scratches develop from Mikawa Nagura and what they look like at 300 power, 315 power. Here's the stones. These are not uncommon stones. You can buy these on the internet, or there's a couple people who will sell them. They have to order them themselves, but of course the original stamp, the Asano stamp, that fellow is no longer alive. It's just a company that does the stamping now. They took over the copyrights, but I think they do a pretty good job.